Hello, everybody. Do that. I can hear myself better. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody had a great week. All right, let's get going with all the stuffs. See who's here already. Yolandi, Azabeth Sobilo, Richard, Divs, and Sepia. Hello. Welcome. Thanks for joining. Hopefully we can have a good chat again this week. Music. I thought we'd do a Nick Cave. For some reason, I just feel like Nick Cave. There was something else that came up this week. Can't remember what it was. Anyway, let's do Nick Cave Radio. James, hello James. Thanks for joining. Here we go. And Zanka, hello, hello. All right, let's start with that. Just a bit more laid back this week. Right, everyone, how's everybody been doing? Hope you all had a good time. Yeah, I think everything's working. Just let me know all the usual stuff if there's a sound or an image problem. Should be okay this week though. Okay. I am going to have to only do like an hour and a half today because I'm going to do the Obsidian Veil ritual in 2 hours time, so I'll end half an hour before that. Happy Deep Known, yes. Happy Deep Known to you too. To all who celebrate, yeah. Oh, Mimalex, hello Mimalex, and 2S. I like that name, that's quite cool actually. Hi, thanks for joining. Anybody who is new and you are not sure what the Covenstead is, it's just a place where we all get together and discuss whatever we want to. So ask whatever questions you want to, make a comment, whatever it may be. It's just a gathering of witches. What was that bloody music I was listening to and I wanted to play? Wait, I know what. No, maybe it's over here. No, not there. I don't know. I can't remember what it was. So it'll come to me someday. Like I'm looking for sigil for Erominus. I don't think you're going to find one actually. Do you know if I can find it? I don't think you will. Erominus is one of those kind of abstract ones, really. Hold on, just trying to get there. I'll have a look now, see if I can find anything, but I'd seriously doubt it. As we've spoken over the week, keeping servitor fed, good stuff. As long as you're feeding the servitor and not something else. We had a chat about this. Yolandi, we had Durban weather today, hot and humid. That's just weird, because it's, you know, we're moving into winter here. Samhain's kind of a bit early, but it's definitely getting cold here in Joburg. Alright, let's see. Where do I want to go? I want to go to there. And to there. Yeah, you see, this is Erominus is one of those that are found in Abramelin, and only Abramelin. So, and there weren't any sigils for Erominus, or any of those really. I don't even think the magic squares would have covered it. Just wondering. I gave you my theory. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I really don't think you're going to find a sigil for that particular spirit. Sorry. Who else again? Oh, it's Mimilek. Sorry about that. You're not going to have an N either, because this is just one of those from that particular book. What you can do is just chart the name itself and make a connection that way. But otherwise, you know, I think the best source is going to be what's his name? Theodore Rose's Lucifer and the Hidden Demons. It's probably going to be the only place you're actually going to find any information about that spirit, actually. And whether that's complete UPG, I don't know. Not many people have actually worked with the spirit that I know of, anyway. Okay, no, that's about it. Sorry. Yolandi, make your own sigil using his name. Yeah, that would be probably the best option if you do want to work with a sigil. The other option, obviously, is to actually make a connection and then ask the spirit itself for the sigil, its sigil, some kind of connecting point. You could construct a sigil using one of Grippa's systems if you need one. You can do that as well. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Sorry, not much on those particular spirits, actually. In that regard, anyway. Yeah. It's not very helpful. Right. So, what's everybody else up to? My week's just been work and work and work and more work. So, I've done a lot of magic this week. Or magic related stuff, anyway. Yeah. Interesting duo. Okay, it's very quiet tonight, isn't it? James, I've been reading through the Hermetica for the past few weeks. I think I need a degree to understand half of it. I know what you mean, absolutely. I mean, the Hermetica, Corpus Hermeticum, etc., etc. They're like they are books that you just need to sit down with and take to pieces bit by bit and really study. It's not something you can just read and go, oh, okay, well, now I understand. They are complex, difficult books. So, you know, I absolutely know what you mean. I've almost finished this one. I'm sure I mentioned it last week, but I'll mention it again because it's a really good book. I really enjoy it. Fight Witchcraft, Roger J. Horn. I enjoy Roger J. Horn's stuff. Really, really good stuff, and it taps into some of the old witchery again, the old charms and incantations and stuff. And he's actually got. I won't be doing a review on this, but he's got a list of old texts that he believes people should read, and you know, these are books from like 1892, 1899. Golden Bough, ooh, that's a heavy one as well. The History of the Devil, or The Horned God of the West by R. Lowe Thompson from 1929. Nicholas Culpeper's Complete Herbal from 1653. These are all old books. Some of these I haven't even heard of myself. I do want to read Folger Shakespeare Library though. Carmina de Gallica, Discovery of Witches by Reginald Scott. These are like really, really, really old stuff, but I mean, it's usually they're usually written from the perspective of kind of like Christian people and the Christian magicians and stuff, but there's a lot of charms and incantations and way that the witches used to work with the spirits and stuff, which is very, really interesting. So, yeah, good book. In India, I started working at 4 a.m., look after mum, make food, work till after 7 p.m. and then crashed. Yeah, today was the first time this week I didn't work. Well, hopefully you won't work tomorrow either, because it's public holiday here. Richard, work and sleep and then more work. Not time for anything else. They weren't joking when they said no rest for the wicked. Yeah. James, love that golden age of esoterica, late 19th and early 20th century. Yeah. Lots of new developments and rediscoveries. Absolutely. It's kind of around the time of when Blavatsky and Golden Dawn and Crowley were doing all their things. I mean, there's some unsavory stuff that came out of that, but it's that whole shift that happened in the late 1800s, early 1900s. That's fantastic. Absolutely incredibly amazing. So yeah, agree with that. To ask, can you talk about how working with Golden Dawn rituals such as LBRP, LIRP, hexagram invocations, banishing, etc. May possibly hinder approaches on left-hand path chaos type magic? I know they can be beneficial. I don't think I say I don't think they would hinder it at all, but they can actually hinder it from the perspective of the actual practitioner themselves and their own feelings, emotions about those particular workings. You said towards magical practice, but I'm leaning towards the former. Yeah, no, I think it's, when you're doing those kind of rituals, you are calling, if it's the pentagram rituals, you're really working with the elements. If you're working with the hexagram rituals, you're then working with the planetary energies. And yeah, sure, I mean, you're calling archangels and you're using vibrating names of power, god names and all that stuff from Hermetic Kabbalah. But I think some people kind of try and do that, and they're incorporating a left-hand path perspective, but they are still programs with this idea that when you're working with angels and such, you're working with Christianity, and that tends to get in the way. So it's almost like a psychological block that happens. But those particular rituals and energies you're calling in, they work just fine with the chthonic spirits. There's no division I can think of anyway that would possibly come into that. If you are doing chaos magic though, chaos magic itself, I mean, if you are thinking about Peter Carroll, Phil Hine, Ray Sherwin, all of those chaos magicians, they actually came up with a lot of related rituals, like the Caltrop of Chaos, which is very much kind of like a eight point, as far as I remember. Anyway, 8-point circle casting method. They've got like can't remember the name of the ritual now, but one which works on the 5 vowels throughout the body, which also it's very similar to the middle pillar ritual. So they did construct some very interesting rituals that are quite beneficial, actually. Banishing in chaos magic is just laughing hysterically, and it works. It really does. So there's just aspects that you need to kind of look into from the perspective of the actual energy you're working with compared to what psychological blocks you may actually come up against yourself, because that's really where the block's going to come in. Andy, there was a funny story I wanted to share, but now I can't remember it. My brain has put up a temporary out of service notice. Mine's been doing that. I've got so much on my mind again. I've got a new project that I was kind of introduced to today. You know, I kind of trying to clear my plate of things, and it just doesn't happen. I just get more projects added. A magical project, which I'll probably talk about next week. I'll give some background because I've just got to get the basics out of the way, and then get into it. It's going to be like an 18-month working with a particular spirit to get access to to get the incant, conjure the Black Book of Art. Very folklory, traditional witchcraft type of stuff. But it's going to be very interesting. Yeah, kind of pushed in my head today. I'm trying to sort through it just to get the basics, and then I'll start working the system, and I'll put it on Patreon most probably under the journal tier. Yolandi, it was an online thing with a Christian, if I remember, but it's all fuzzy. Give me a minute. Okay, we'll give you a minute. We're waiting. All right. No pressure. Right. What's everybody else got to say? Normally have to give it a while for everybody to get on and ready for a chat. Just for anybody who wasn't here just now, it looks like we've got a peak of viewers at the moment. I will be ending a bit earlier tonight or today because I've got to do the Obsidian Veil ritual after this. So if anybody is on the Obsidian Veil tier on Patreon or above, then stick around half an hour after we finish today. If you can, obviously. We'll do I'll be doing the ritual. Richard does sound very exciting. Looking forward to it. Yeah, it kind of everything came through, and it was like, holy crap! This is going to be very interesting. Extremely interesting. Yolandi, family member, posted something on FB asking about what religion we are. So I finally came out of the closet to my family that I'm pagan. There you go. Yeah. Sometimes a good thing, sometimes a bad thing. Depends on your family. Actually, while everybody's quiet, what we can do, I'm just going to change my eyes. Oh, I know. One of his friends tried converting me, as they do, and started posting Bible verses with the words, "He will tolerate me for now." Yeah, they get quite kind of funny. James, more of a question for the group, but I'm planning on contacting Viewer ritually for some healing. Does anyone have any advice around Buer specifically or Goetia in general? Go slow, and just take it step by step. That's really the best thing. Just want to check that I've got the same spirit in mind here. Yeah, it was that one I worked with recently. Very cool spirit, very calming kind of energy. So I think you are going to enjoy that interaction actually. Uh, 2S, great song. It was a good song, I like that song. Never heard this band before, the Handsome Family. Oh, it's got some interesting bands on it. Sinead O'Connor, Fever Ray, Bauhaus, Passengers, Massive Attack. Warhouse, I never heard of them. And Laura Marling, ooh, like Laura Marling. Yolanda said them were fighting words, so I blasted him out of water. I stated as pagan, I don't believe in heaven or hell, that is his belief, and basically told him to go pleasure himself. As I was saying below, yes, do not work with Buer under the influence of anything. Sound advice. Do not drink or take any psychotropics, hallucinogenics, psychedelics, or anything like such things. Sound advice there. Jono, hello Jono. Yeah, it's quiet tonight. Not many questions tonight. All chatting. Richard at Yolanda, you were too kind, but well said. She handled it very, very well, I must say. Oh, I just wonder if I'm going to make it to the Obsidian Ritual. Goodness, I'm tired. Yolandi said I used facts, no emotions, and he could not come back with a counter argument. He just disappeared, just laughed at him. It's a way to do it. Mimolek, how's the weather out there? Here in Poland, sunny but cool. Well, I'm in Joburg, and it's been a bit cool, kind of cold. It's getting a bit icy in the morning, actually. The last couple of days have been quite warm, or warmer. But yeah, we're starting to move into winter, so it's getting a bit colder over here. Uncle, I was just getting used to your skull cap, and now your beautiful head is naked again. Okay, I'm sure it'll be colder next week. In fact, it looks like it's going to be like the temperature's going to be down next Sunday. So I will have my bandana on. Maybe I'll wear my penguin one. Went on a what do they call it? When you go out on the boat. It was down the West Africa coast, somewhere down there, just past Namibia, and just past the whole section. Anyway, we went on a boat trip out to see the seals. There's an island there or something. I can't remember the places or the names or anything like that. But anyway, they did this penguin rescue thing, and so we got penguin rescue bandanas. Maybe I'll wear that next week. Andrea's here. Hello, Andrea. Thanks for joining. Glad you're here. I think we missed you last week. I can't remember if it was last week or the week before now. And Alistair's here. Sorry, can't join in chat match. Keyboard broken. That's fine. Don't worry about that. 2S. I've been taking my approach to left-hand path ritual work very slowly, allowing my spirit to remain comfortable and confident, and I've noticed it has already been working within my subconscious. Yeah, absolutely. You've also said I've had Lilith come to me in an unforgettable dream some month ago, and have yet to invoke it. Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think this has been a topic the past few weeks actually. Is let go, release, surrender to whatever it is, and I'm seeing it quite a lot, and just everything that keeps coming up. It's just this, just gotta let go. Because we tend to, whatever it is, whether it's spell work, whether it's communication with the spirit, whether it's trying to move your path forward, whatever it is, we tend to, in Western society, we kind of push and push and push, and you know, we don't know how to kind of like just surrender, just stop, let go, let whatever it is do its thing. And that's what really happened. What needs to happen. We need to, what did you say? Work very slowly. Yes, because if you're trying to force everything to come too quickly, then you start pushing again, and you know, you're not letting it do what it needs to do. Not letting the energy flow. It's kind of like, you know, the energy's trying to flow this way, and you're kind of pushing this way, so it doesn't know what to do. It doesn't know where to go. It's all over the place, and therefore it's not actually doing anything. So yeah, let go, release, surrender. It's all the answer to most things. As above, so below. Oh, I know what I wanted to share now. I made the house for my new friend from clay, bone dust, my blood, and mullein. Cool. That's a nice combination, actually. Clay, bone dust, blood, and mullein. That's quite a necromantic one, actually. But yeah, I can see why you would do that. Very nice. I like it. I love it. Let's see. James, thanks for the advice. Not one for taking substances these days, anyway. That's cool then. Yeah, it's always worth a mention because a lot of people do. You know, it's I think it's become one of the standard things lately, so it has to be mentioned if it's a bad idea. We're saying hello. 2S, I equally feel a draw to Runaway, Belial and Lucifer, and I'm looking to work out how I should figure to work with them in terms of how and who first. In that lineup there, those three anyway, I would actually go and start with Lucifer, because Lucifer's kind of like the beginning of make a connection with Lucifer, and then ask who Lucifer wants to work with next, or which energy you should bring in next. And it's probably going to be Belial. For some reason, those two work extremely well together. But yeah, just start with that and then go on from there. Yolandi, I'm still getting messages from Hecate. It's all about shadow work and healing. Yeah, it would do. Am I buffering? Sorry. My internet tends to go in and out. And I picked the best connection today. Let's just make sure. Okay, I think I'm back fine. It says excellent connection. I'm back. Okay, good stuff. Just in case 2S missed what I was saying there, I did mention work with Lucifer first, because Lucifer tends to mark the beginning of cycles, and then after you've created a relationship with Lucifer, then ask Lucifer which energy you should bring in next. And as I said, it will probably be Belial, because for some reason those two work really well together. But yeah, start with Lucifer and then take it from there. It's a pleasure, absolute pleasure. Right, what's next on the agenda? Andrea, my keyboard is unwell, so unfortunately I am having to type using the screen. That's okay. You can just sit back and listen if you want to. We know you're here, so we're good now. That's all we needed to know. You're doing pretty well on your screen, though, I must say. John, anyone here doing any cool magic at the moment? I think my next project is servitors. I was actually saying earlier, I don't think you joined them. I got given a project which I'll probably talk about next week because the spirits kind of shoved it on me today. I'm just sorting through the particulars, the overall kind of idea behind it. But it's probably going to be an 18-month working, and I'll document everything, obviously. But that's going to be quite interesting. Very folk magic-y, folk witchcrafty. Probably inspired by Roger J. Horn's book, because I'm reading that at the moment. I think that's where School came from. Yeah. So I'll give more details next week, probably. I'll sort it through some of the stuff. James, is it okay if I give a shout out to Goetic Impressions correspondence guide? Yeah, absolutely. It's a really good online encyclopedia of info. Yeah, sure. Do you want me to share the link? Wait, I should actually have a look because I don't think I've actually seen this one. These are the guys that make all the poetic stuff, and they have like the pendulums and pendants, and they also do the Enochian magic stuff, as far as I remember. That's some amazing stuff. I remember when these guys started. I think I've got it here. I'd rather click the link that says skip to the demons. Oh, here we go. Okay. Oh, this is a very basic thing. This is pretty cool. Yeah, it's literally correspondence. There's no blah blah blah. Just straightforward. Goes into your rank, planet, color, metal, incense, day, times, cardinal, ruler, direction, elements, tarot card, zodiac, decan, dates, times, and then all of the stuff under RUD. Cool. All right. Hang on. Let me share the link. Let me just take all this garbage off the end from Google. Okay, here we go. Ta-da! Where were we? 2S. When is it a good time or reason to work with angels? Also, if I don't have direct experience or relationship with any, what would be a good approach to start? I don't really work with angels myself, apart from working with the archangels as the watchtowers and the four cardinal guardians. I don't work with angels myself, so but the approach. See, the problem is, my view of angels is probably going to be very different to yours and a lot of other people's. I don't work with angels because I don't have a need to control the weather or control big events or stuff like that. Archangels, 4 archangels specifically, it's kind of a different story. But if you are working with angels purely as being messengers, that's also different again. So it really depends. But as I said, I don't work with angels myself, so it's a bit of a difficult one. I can't really say. The approach would probably end up being the same anyway. Just build a relationship. just to start with. Yeah. Elandia at Jono, I made a servitor for protection, and it's working like a charm. It's for those backstabbers and people who wish me ill. As above, so below. Do you find most servitors you create to become alive just by thinking about them? Oh yeah. This guy is already his own being, and I'm quite surprised. Oh yes, no, that definitely happens. And I've spoken about this several times. If you are doing something, and this tends to come up with servitors because there's quite often a long what I call gestation period when you're creating a servitor. You can create a servitor in 5 minutes, boom, it's done. But quite often you'll kind of plan it and kind of go through this whole preparation phase. And quite often the servitor's off doing its thing before you've even got to the point where you've launched and activated it. But still go through that process because time's not real. Just because it's often doing its thing doesn't mean you shouldn't finish going through the process of actually doing the activation and launching. You have to do it, so remember that. Make sure you go through the process, otherwise you create an imbalance. James, yeah, the ritual paraphernalia, yeah, it's really good. I like it. Uncle, that book must be something special. 18-month project is a big thing. Well, it's not a book yet. It's going to be a book. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what's. It's just a thing. It came to me today. It's going to be calling on a particular spirit from folklore, which is very much connected with the folkloric devil, and usually in reference to conjuring the Black Book of Art, which is what it's called in folklore and witchcraft, which is really just a reference to a book which holds all of the mysteries, all of the knowledge, and this particular spirit is the one that actually brings that knowledge to you. So the working itself is going to be making the connection, reaching out, making the connection, then making a pact, and then continuing with the creation of familiars and dream work and all of this stuff. So just a whole lot of stuff that came flowing through. But as I said, I've got to just put it into some kind of format, and then I'll start working it and see what comes out of it. John, that's awesome. Yolandi is an air elemental. 2S, you have good taste in music. I have a feeling you understand the powerful correspondence to the band Tool. Yep. And their hidden approach to left-hand path ideologies. You have good taste in music. Thank you. I do enjoy Tool. Yeah, very good band. Yolandi, I didn't use an element. I just created it initially. I gave it some of my blood once a week, but it now gets its feed from the nasty people. Yeah. Good to hear that. Magnus Opus, hello. I was reading about knowledge in conversation of Holy Guardian Angel. Is it our soul or some other angel? There's a bit of a contention between practitioners about exactly what it is. I find it's kind of in between. It's a gateway, an intermediary, a liminal spirit. So it is part of your soul, but at the same time it's kind of, you can't really say it's kind of separate, but it's a part. Yeah, let's try to put it this way. We have all of these different parts or facets of our soul, right? And they kind of splinter. And then the whole process of the great work, alchemy, all this stuff, is to bring all of those pieces together and meld them all together back into one. Now, once you've done that, you've got an entire soul, all right? And one of those parts is this HGA, or the fetch, what I call the fetch mate. So it's the upper self, the neshama, etc. You've got the Chia and everything else in Kabbalah. But it's that part which is the intermediary between yourself and the divine. So it is part of you, it is you. It's just don't like using the word elevated part of yourself or higher vibrational, because it's not really above. There's nothing above and below. It's just all bits and parts that do all different jobs. But that particular part is the part that is the connection between you and divinity, and it's the part that holds your true will and all of that stuff. So is it your soul? I would say yes, it is your soul. It's not another angel. It's not like separate from you. It's just we view it as being separate because it has fragmented from the entirety of your soul, and therefore it needs to be brought back and united. Which is why we have yoga, the unification of parts. So, Andrea's still working on something that will get Alistair into the kitchen. There you go, try a servitor. Everybody else is doing servitors. Yolandi, for some reason I'm going through a phase where I want to eat a lot of junk food. Not sure if it's a comfort eating thing or if there is something in the air. I think probably the beginning of winter. We've got it's that putting on the what do they call it, the winter blubber, to keep us warm. It's a natural process of human beings. John has a pub. Barden warns about giving servitors too much leash. It's why he insists on failsafes like death dates. An out-of-control servitor is technically a poltergeist. Death dates suck, but makes sense. Yeah, I get that. But at the same time, you have people who believe that if you don't give the spirit any attention, it dies because it's not being fed anything. They can go off and find their own source of food, but yeah, I don't know. I like to give my servitors a lot of leash. I don't like controlling them. I treat them the same way I treat my daughter. So, yeah, they behave. Andrea, Landy, same here. I've been craving donuts. Yeah, it's the winter thing. It really is. Today it was ice cream and Lay's salt-flavored chips. Okay. Self-discipline is low. Oh god, now we can up all these foods. The Fat Muppet winter, it's almost summer. Aha! But not in the southern hemisphere. It's winter down. It's Samhain. Well, we're coming up to Samhain in the southern hemisphere. You guys have got Beltane. We've got Samhain. It's a total flip-flop. And hello, the Fat Muppet. Welcome. You said I was asking, and that's a stupid question, but I don't know this stuff. No, it's perfectly valid question actually, because a lot of people get completely and totally confused. In fact, it's probably worth talking about. We find that a lot of people come into witchcraft, and most of the books are written in the Northern Hemisphere, so they are written from the perspective of I live in Johannesburg, South Africa, so it's in the Southern Hemisphere. But people come and they start reading on books about Neo-Wicca and all this stuff, and it is from the perspective of the Northern Hemisphere. And then we also celebrate Christmas in December. Everybody's used to that. So, when it comes to the Sabbats, it gets extremely confusing when people like me say, okay, in the Southern Hemisphere, you have to switch everything around. Oh, you thought I was in the UK? No, I was born in the UK. Moved to South Africa when I was just turning 11. I was 10. So when I was a little boy. Been here for a long, long time now. But people get confused when we say, you know, you got to switch everything around because the seasons are switched around. You know, yes, people in South Africa or in the Southern Hemisphere may celebrate Christmas in December, but it's bloody hot. It's midsummer at that time. It's the midsummer solstice. Um, so when we're referring to the Sabbats, we're referring to the seasons. And that's what confuses people until they actually register, oh, it's about the seasons themselves. So everything gets flipped over. 6 months, changed by 6 months, basically. So, yeah, no, it's definitely it's a valid question, definitely worth discussing. But you still speak like an Englishman. Yeah, I know, 'cause I never lost my accent. They actually say, it's quite interesting, was it 7 years? Yeah, it was 7 years. They actually say if you don't lose your accent in 7 years, it just sticks. Whatever accent you've got after 7 years of moving to a new country, that's what sticks with you. But I've got to say, I mean, we went back to England. We moved here in 82. Wait. Yes. It was 82. No, wait, hold on. God damn it, I've forgotten now. Wait. Yes, it was 82. It must have been 82. Yes, it was 1982. Moved here in 82. In 1986, we went back to England because my grandmother was dying. And I went and saw all my old friends in the neighbourhood. I couldn't understand a word they were saying. I mean, you think I've got some people say I've got a very broad English accent. I have nothing compared to what I had when we moved here, really. It's quite scary, actually. Alright, so Yolandi and Andrea are talking about apricot jam and ice cream and stuff, so we'll leave them to that. Otherwise I'm going to get hungry. Jono, not a stupid question. There is such I think, there is, I think you're trying to say there's no such thing as a stupid question. But if you hear it's unlikely someone will ask a stupid question. Yeah, true. Yeah, I don't think you can really ask a stupid question here. I've had some questions which a lot of people might consider stupid, but they're really actually quite interesting when you actually delve into them. Yeah. 2S, have you ever utilized your birth chart or path, numbers, gematria, etc. When considering your approach to the great work or left-hand path in order to strengthen your energetic resonance in regards to your constitution? I don't really work with my birth chart. I'm not an astrologer. I don't work with numerology. So I'm going to have to say no on that one. It's just not something not an avenue I ever went down. Yeah. Yolanda, you sound like our English people. Who, me? What do you mean? I lost you there. Jono, you understand, estimate my ability to ask stupid questions. Underestimate my ability. Well, I don't know. I don't think there are any stupid questions. You know, the main reason why I think we actually say there are no stupid questions is because people are so afraid to ask questions. Because we have these huge big groups on Facebook and stuff, and somebody comes along with a very, very basic question that everybody kind of like knows the answer to, well, that person doesn't. And then, they kind of get attacked because they asked this stupid question. But it wasn't stupid, it was something that they didn't know, they wanted knowledge on, and therefore they asked a bunch of people that had the knowledge they needed. Sometimes the answer will be go and research it, because there's some value in researching a question and getting that knowledge yourself. So, it may be go and research the question, have a look in this book, have a look at this website, etc., etc. So the people might point you in the right direction, and then you go research yourself. Quite often there's too much to actually say in an answer. So therefore, go research and find out, because it could be like read several books on the topic. But I think that's really why we say there's no stupid questions, is because people get attacked so much for asking a question that they're too afraid to freaking ask. So, yeah, don't be afraid to ask questions. That's the main thing. Leonard, you don't hear a British accent. You sound like all the English people in South Africa. Oh, really? I've been told I have quite a British accent. You don't hear a British accent. That's because you know me too well. Muppet, I want to learn what to do when I die, what sort of rites and meditations and where and what sort of monks I should seek out to help me pass over satanic monks or Buddhists, etc. Any advice? Depends on your beliefs. Really does. What are your beliefs surrounding death and dying and the... People call it the afterlife. I don't like using that word, but I can't think of any other term to use. What are your beliefs? And then you have to go from there. There's so many different forms of releasing the energy body from the physical body when we die, from different traditions all over, different cultures. It's a very, very diverse topic. One thing I do think that needs to take place is the release of the energy centers. In Hinduism, they're called chakras. In other cultures and traditions, they're just called energy centers. And I think going through those energy centers and releasing them from, this is almost like plugs that you kind of disconnect to help the body to actually move on. And I think if that doesn't get done, and it doesn't get done in our Western Christianized society, to a certain degree it does, because Christianity often offer up a lot of prayers and stuff, which helps to release the energy body from the physical. But that process needs to take place. Otherwise, after a certain period, it's almost like the door closes, and then the person becomes a wandering ghost. And if they are not being fed properly by their descendants through ancestral work and ancestral veneration, they are probably going to end up being a hungry ghost and become parasitic. So there is that process that it's not just you, it's the people who love you, your family and friends, who have to do their part as well. But all boils down to what your beliefs are and what direction that's going to take. Jono at 2S, what does left-hand path mean to you? I know the character limit is restrictive. Is there a way you can give me a feeling, because left-hand path means different things? Absolutely, yeah, that's absolutely true. 2S, I also do not like allowing astrology to determine any dispositions I may have or develop, but does it not make sense to factor astrology when working with planetary forces, such as when doing hexagram work or rituals? It can do. The problem is I don't know astrology. It's very, very complex, and it's something I never got into. It's something I don't understand. I do understand the importance of astrology. I have a very, very good friend who they are an astrologer, have been professional astrologer for 30, 40 years. It's been a long time. And if I do want to find out anything specific or particular, I go to them and I ask them. And quite often, yes, that can be very, very beneficial and influential in the magic you're doing, especially if you're working with planetary energies and hexagram rites and things like that. However, usually I will work with planetary energies without any consultation of my birth chart or astrology or anything like that. And the moon phases, the moon itself becomes a very important aspect in there, because all the energies of the planets come through the moon. So it's just it's, yes, I understand the importance of it, but I'm not an astrologer, so it's the main reason why I don't incorporate that into my magic, because unless I go and speak to my friend. Jono at the Fat Muppet, you dying, mate, or are you speaking about some time in the future? We'll just do James at the Fat Muppet. If you have anxieties about death and dying, I can highly recommend the lectures of Alan Watts. He was a Western Buddhist in the 1960s, but has a broad appeal in my opinion. Fat Muppet, know about Alan Watts. I know that if you don't learn how to die, you won't be able to determine where you end up. I don't know about that. The way you put that is actually very interesting. If you don't learn how to die, it's actually a very interesting way of viewing it, actually. But I think you will end up where you believe, where your own personal worldview lands you. Is there some common place that we all go to after that? I don't know. There was actually an interesting thing from Lobsang Rampa. There was a lot of things from Lobsang Rampa books that stuck with me. I read these when I was like 12, 13, 14 years old. But they really made an impression, obviously. But there was actually something that he mentioned, which was very interesting in this regard, that when a person dies, they go to like an intermediary place. And that intermediary place shows up the way we believe it's going to be. So a Christian will end up in heaven. I will end up, I don't know where, in the cosmic soup being swirled around. You know, a Buddhist will end up where they think they are going when they die, etc., etc. So what the image that we have of the place we are going to when we die, it's where we go to, but it's not real. And you kind of interacting with all the people there, and you're going through the process, and you kind of start to notice things a bit out of place and not quite right. And then eventually it all just kind of falls away, and you go into what he called the hall of memories, if I remember correctly. And then you start going through this process where you kind of get your whole life replayed to you, and you find out the lessons you learned, and if you did it properly, and then you know you eventually get reincarnated. But that's different to my worldview. You know, I believe that we will get mixed up in this cosmic soup. So yeah, but I like that way you put that. Learn how to die. But my own belief is you're going to end up going to where your own personal worldview determines. And I think all of those places exist. We have an infinite universe and multiverses that we all are and create. So, you know, but we can't really say for certain. Nobody can. Nobody living anyway. Well, you'll only give me time. I'm studying astrology and tarot. I love divination. Okay, alright. I will come to you and ask you for some electional astrology. There we go. To us, I have heard some notable people talk about the negative feminine aspect of the chakra Kundalini system, and how collapsing, riding these wheels may be beneficial in regaining sovereignty from apparent negative astral or vampiric energies, forces, thoughts. There's quite a lot in there. Negative feminine aspects. It's Kundalini system. I think what you're actually talking about there is what people are calling, and I think it's ridiculous actually, to tell you the truth. What are they calling it? Was it zero? It's basically this process where they are completely and utterly shutting down their chakra system. And I don't think people doing that actually kind of understand what they're doing or what they're talking about, because if this is what you're talking about. Because if you shut down your chakra system, you die. So I'm not... I don't know. I think some people are just doing these things. They're not really doing anything, they just think they are. I can't remember what the bloody hell it was called now. But anyway. You said, yeah, I've heard 2 people speak of this. One being Jeremiah from... sure, don't trust anything Jeremiah says at all. Sorry, no. That's where I draw a line, especially when it comes to people like Jeremiah. He is totally, utterly full of shit. Really is. Don't even trust that person. But yeah, if it's the same thing, I'm really trying to rack my brain to try and figure out what the term was. But it's about collapsing or reversing or shutting down the chakra system itself. And there is a process that they go through. It's shut it down and then open it up again, or bring it back to life. But seriously, if you shut down your chakra system, you die. There's no energy flow. If there's no energy flow, that's what happens when you are dead. This is why I say a lot of these people kind of make this shit up, and I don't know where the fuck it comes from. Anyway, sorry, I'm going to start swearing profusely now. Yolandi, carrying on now. Yolandi, reincarnation. I'm going back as a trust fund baby in my next life. Good stuff. Look me up when you come back, please. The fat muppet, I don't... if you don't intend your karma will intend you and determine your next place for you. Nice, I love that. That's very interesting as well. You really thought about this stuff, haven't you? Yeah. Very important questions as well, actually. John, I agree with Fat Muppet. In my belief system, the afterlife is something we create for ourselves. Uncle, you're right, it's not real, but when you're in it, it is your reality. Yeah, well, that's the thing. I personally believe that we create our own worldviews. So, my worldview, my universe is different to everybody else's universe. And your universe is different to everybody else's universe. And there are overlaps here and there, the commonalities, but they're all unique universes. And this is my reality. Is there one shared reality? I don't think so. If you bring them all together, it's just millions and millions and millions of multiverses. If you were to, you can't really bring them all together into one. But that collection of all of them would be the one. But that becomes infinite, so you can't really even put it into a bubble. That's just one of those. Brain doesn't gets to a certain point and can't go any further. Andrea, you could be twins. I will marry a chef. There you go. There's your solution. Go marry a chef. Yeah. And then 2 S's laughing at me a lot. Alright. Okay, now I'm going to have my hot chocolate. So I earned my hot chocolate. James, kind of like the Infinite Hotel. That's yeah. What are you referring to, a series or something that I'm not quite grasping? I have a feeling you are. Let me know, because there was something I needed to watch, and it was something along those lines, I think, but I can't remember now. Andrea Alistair just brought me donuts. I guess I do love them after all. There you go. See, you will bypass the kitchen by buying you donuts. Hilbert's Paradox of the Grand Hotel. Okay, not what I was thinking of, but I'm going to look at that up anyway, because that sounds interesting. A maths thing. Okay, alright. I'll have to give myself some time for that then. Okay. I thought you were talking about anime. How was that thing called? With all the demons and stuff. I think Stolas or somebody was one of the characters. But anyway. James Dixon, you just brought up the Eagle Song Hotel. Yeah, actually, that's what came up in my mind as well. Yeah. So while everybody's quiet, I'm going to go look at Goetic Impressions stuff. They make some really cool stuff. I haven't seen them in a while. I used to follow them on Instagram. Oh, they make pins and... Oh, what's going on here? It's stuck. There we go. Satanism and paganism are lumped together here. Here we go. Darren's altar decor, accessories, candles. Their candles were really cool as far as I remembered, because I tried doing it myself and I couldn't get it to work. They actually kind of heat score the pattern, and then they go over with a different color wax or something, and they're really cool. But they're handmade, which is very impressive. Right, let's get back to the chat then. Fat Muppet, how did you get the permit to play copyright music? I didn't. I just don't monetize the videos. And every week they remind me this video cannot be monetized. Now I know because I didn't monetize it to begin with. I chose not to. But yeah. So it's got the name of the song author or the song of the artist. So it's kind of advertising for them actually. If anybody has a problem, I'll just delete all the videos. It's really that simple. James, I have spawned another earworm. Oh, there you go. Yep. Hotel California. Jono, my magic teacher remembers a bunch of past lives and a few times in the afterlife. She had an awful afterlife in hell. Believed she was going to hell for her sins when she died. She was reincarnated when she forgot why she was being punished in hell in the first place. Yeah, you see, this is where personal belief comes in. This is why I say I believe that everybody has their own universe. So a Christian who believes they've been bad and they're going to hell, they're going to go to hell, and they're going to go through that whole process. If they believe it's the 9 whatever hell levels of hell of Dante, etc., then they're going to go through that process when they die, because that's their universe, that's their worldview. So yeah, I can believe that. Andrea, I'm busy eating donuts and trying to stop Jasper from seeing them. Okay, well, you're not sharing them, so yeah. That's it. Has Been Hotel. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, I need to go watch that. I've not seen it myself, but I've been exposed to the fan art. Yeah, I really want to watch that. I've got so much I need to watch, but I'm constantly bloody busy with other stuff. Jono, to answer you, I spent 15 plus years polarized in right-hand path, New Age mysticism, and I slowly but surely realized to move forward it was imperative to balance my desire for illumination through the negative. Yeah, you see, this is why we need to ask you the person's interpretation of what left-hand path, etc. is, and various other things within magic, because I wouldn't consider left-hand path to be the polar opposite of right-hand path. I think it's just a different approach to getting to the same place. But then I take very much kind of Eastern Vamamaga, what was it? Dikshamaga? No? I can't remember the other one. Left-hand, right-hand path stuff. But it's just a different approach to getting to the same place. One's active, one's passive. I don't like this left-hand path, right-hand path thing myself either. Just a crooked path for me. But yeah, no, that's why I'm saying it's very important that we understand how you interpret things, so that we can sort of continue a conversation. Fat Muppets, didn't know that's how it worked. I don't know if that's how it works either. Nobody's complained so far. It's just YouTube keep reminding me every time, cannot monetize this video. I know. But yeah, that's what I say. If anybody complains, I'll just have to delete all the videos. But as above, so below. What's your favourite flavour of or chip? Crisp. Are you asking me or everybody else? I don't know what mine is. I don't know what my favourite flavour is. Probably plain, actually, to be honest with you. Plain salted. That actually reminds me. I don't know if Jono, maybe you can tell me if they still get it in the UK. But when I was a kid, we used to get Willard's. I think it was Willard's plain salted chips. But there used to be this little packet of chips, and they had no salt on them. And inside was this little packet of salt, and you added your own salt. So you kind of mixed it up and got it to the salt level you like it, you prefer it. They were brilliant. They were lovely, and they were just fantastic chips. Anyway, Fat Muppet 08. Oh, thanks. Yes, nice answer. I feel a similar way. Okay, there we go. Fat Muppet, but Shivo's a real being, whether you believe in him or not. Yeah, absolutely. So am I. I'm also a real being, and some people don't believe in me. So, some people have never met me. Can you believe it? And therefore, I don't exist in their universe. How's that? Yeah. If you've never heard of Shiva, doesn't exist for you. Just doesn't exist in your universe, really. So that's where things get really interesting. So yes, not dualistic in my approach. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Non-dualistic approach is better, in my opinion, anyway. India, I follow a cruciate path. I found right-hand path very judgmental. Obviously not everyone, but can just get very emotional. I don't think it matters on what path you're on. There's going to be judgmental people and extremists and everything else. They exist absolutely everywhere. Richard said left-hand path and right-hand path felt very much the same thing. I agree with you, Lee. I'll follow the crooked path. Yeah, it's just some people might call it the middle path, the grey path, but I think the crooked path describes it better. It's the winding backwards and forwards as you journey through. It's not the straight path through. Andrea Slee, the little blue bag of salt. Yeah, that's yeah. I used to love those. Now 2S is laughing at me again. I can't remember what for now. Anyway, John, my magic teacher is convinced, and the witch convinced me too. That's the way the afterlife works before reincarnation. She got me to watch What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams. She said it's like that. I watched that a long time ago. I can't remember it now. But yeah, no, I honestly think that it's different for everybody. That was one person's experience. Different for all people. But we don't really know. John, I remember those chips. They were good. They were really good. Yeah. Yolandi, I'm a very tolerant person. I do me, you do you. Just don't mess with me. Then we will all get along. Yeah. As about so, I got to bounce early. Okay. Have a good one. I'll see you soon. Alright. James, I have to dip out. Okay, you too. Alright. Have a good one. See you next time. And Kerry is here. Hello, Kerry. But thanks for joining. James, as above, so below. Thanks for joining. What's happening with the people here? Oh, here we go. It's a good turnout today. Ooh, excuse me. Yeah, I'm gonna be yawning when I'm gonna be doing the obsidian veil ritual later. Richard, as someone said, I hold just as much authority as the Pope. I just don't have as many people believing it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. My father actually taught me from a really, really young age that um, nobody's more important than me, and I'm not more important than anybody else. You know, the Queen may have a different job, may have more responsibility than I do, but still, we're just people, and you know, we should respect each other just from that basis. Fat Muppet, the reason I think as to why we don't know is because when we die, we fall into a sort of sleep and then wake up. I don't know. I had a near-death experience, and when there's a certain point you get to that you either cross over and you don't come back from, or you come back from, and you know, it's that point that we living people can't go beyond. Yes, we can have what's it called? Past life regressions and all such things. But that becomes I think a very much personal interpretation then. I'm not sure. Can only speak from our own personal experience. Uncle, you got Hecate tonight? Yes, it's Deep Nun. So I'm doing the Obsidian Veil ritual. So we'll end this. Oh, just now actually. Cool, it's already almost 8:20. Yeah, so I'm going to end soonish. Got to set up and then do the Obsidian Veil ritual. Thanks for reminding me. Yeah, 2S, I'm super tolerant to other people's spiritual belief systems, but since the idea of this kind of work is so misunderstood, I just don't bring it up. I'm still trying to figure out a way to balance my authenticity in regards to sharing ideas. Yeah, it's something you've got to work through. And it's something you're going to be changing and developing over a long period of time, so as you have been already. But just carry on going. Kerry Lee and friends have good news. The ranking minority member of the House Judiciary Committee is going to help me get a bill next session to restore an insanity defense in Kansas. And he will talk to the chairwoman about getting a hearing for the bill. Cool. Nice. Good stuff. Glad it worked out for you. And Fat Muppet in Hinduism, they say that the gods you worship in life will guide you in death. That's kind of cool actually. I like that. Right, if anybody's got any important or big questions, get them in now. Because in 10 minutes I'm going to have to duck out. I must finish my hot chocolate as well. Richard said well done and congrats at Kerry. Oh, I made my desk mobile. You can move it around, it's on wheels now. I'm going to sit on it and push it to the shop. It just makes it easier when I need to do, because my ritual space is over here. So I can just push it against the wall. It gives me a load of space to work in. Oh, there's my alarm. Garis is with me still. How can I thank him? Ask him. Don't ask me. What's if you ask me? It's kind of like somebody. Same kind of question as somebody brought me a Christmas present or a birthday present, how do I thank them? Don't ask me. I don't know. Ask the spirit. Ask Garrus. Yes, a great new moon meeting, everyone. As always, thank you for your time and effort, Uncle Lee. It was good to finally share dialogue with you. And you. Thanks. It was actually really good chatting with you, actually. So you have a mobile home office? I do, actually. It really is. I really pimped out my desk. I got like a slide keyboard. I've got my armchair so I can be the armchair magician. I've got like arms. I've got an arm for my mic. I've got an arm for my light. I've got an arm for my camera. It's really cool. So I got wheels now. Now I just need like something that will elevate the desk so I can sit or stand. That would be cool. Jono said, nice on the desk wheels, Uncle. I know you wanted that for a while. Yeah, really cool. Google user, hello Google user. What grounding rituals are good for channeling sessions? Go and eat something and have a cup of tea or coffee or something like that. Really good grounding rituals. If you are having difficulty, if you are, when you say channeling sessions, I'm assuming you're talking about channeling a spirit. Then you're going to need to get the spirit to go before you do the grounding. Grounding doesn't come into that. Grounding is releasing excess energies after doing some kind of ritual. But if you are really having difficulty releasing the energy, two really, really good ones that I like is firstly to imagine roots growing into the ground and you passing the energy into the earth, and then you pull the roots back up again. The other one is you get down on all fours, and just below your torso you see this like vortex open up in the ground, and it just goes down into the ground. And then what you do is you're taking this huge big breath and you release it with this force, and you just force all that excess energy to kind of go into this void, into the earth. That's a really good visualization. But those are the main ones. But yeah, no, I mean, first thing, usually just do the root. Just allow your roots to grow down into the ground, rooted and grounded and, really solid. And then just let the energy flow into the earth and then bring them back again. It's usually the easiest. But yeah, Fat Muppet said tea is very good for grounding, or some milk is good, yeah. Quite often I'll just grab a cup of coffee and eat a sandwich or something like that. And it kind of brings you, it's more of a centering thing, it kind of brings you back to the mundane sort of thing. It's a pleasure, absolute pleasure. Alright. Alright, I'm going to take this opportunity to thank everybody and say cheerio. Fat Muppet said chanting Lam or chant a Bhumi mantra. Bhumi is the earth goddess. There you go. Lam, as far as I remember, is connected, is the seed or the beach sound of the root chakra, if I'm correct. And your nice desk. I'm happy to know that you're going to be more comfy while working. Oh yes, absolutely. I'm loving this. I'm never getting a desk chair again. I'm sitting in this chair for the rest of my life. I'll just keep repairing it when it breaks. Yeah. Hey Landy, I've been a good girl for a change. Shocking, I know. I've stopped drinking sugar in my coffee and tea. Ooh, yeah, I can't do that. Thanks. No more numb bum. No. I'm very, very comfortable. No numb bums. I always used to get numb bums in those chairs. Not good. Alright, I'm going to say thanks and cheerio. It was a really good chat. I really enjoyed it again. And I'll hopefully see everybody next week. Have a good one. And if anybody is part of the Obsidian Veil ritual, just 35 minutes, I'll be online again, so you can watch that.